Welcome to what I will jokingly call one bay garage. This is what happens when you already own one supercharged Corvette. You try to find your friend one for a deal, but you find too good of a deal, so you end up buying something new. And then when it arrives and you do the stupid thing, because hey, guess what? You just bought a car online from out west without looking at it. Well, the car's mostly good. It's mint. But whoever built the engine, well, the day two of owning it, it ate a lifter. So, them's the brakes. Got a nice 2003 Z06 sitting behind me, and boy, is it in good condition. But I'll turn the camera in a minute. The initial car is a 99 coupe, which I've got out front, and that was supercharged. I recently sold the blower kit, put it back to mostly stock. But, got myself my dream Electron Blue Z06 2003, 60,000 some odd miles, and I thought, hey, for the price from Oklahoma, great, I can sell my black one out here and break even or just about and have a much newer, lower miles car, better paint, a little bit more fun, a new project, and it had heads and cam already done, less work for me. Well, that was the exciting part, and then those GM lifters, they're about 13 bucks a pop, and it must have already been damaged because the previous guy, he put the blower on it after the guy before him did heads and cam, couldn't quite tune it. Well, that lifter was probably already going. Not much to do about that. So, 2 days of ownership, and here's where we are now. There's a 2003 Z06 in its beautiful patina of dust. It's been sitting for almost a year. I ended up having to buy and build a new engine, which is out at the shop right now. And that was just time taken building up paychecks. Usually I would go a little sloppy, but this car I wanted to be nice. I had a little discretionary fund, so I started getting goofy with the parts. But here it is. The engine's gone. The LS block is out. I guess what happened is the lifter, when it let go, took out the bore that the lifter sits in, and it took out about a thumb-sized chunk of that. I didn't find that for a few weeks until I got I didn't want to look at the car for a while, so I left it out here. I finally came in, I took off the valve covers, took a look. Yeah, sure enough, one of the rockers is sitting there loose. Next weekend, I said, all right, I'll take the pan down, took the pan down, hoping to find, needles, pins. Down at the bottom, my plan was put a cam in it, put a bushing kit on the rockers while I was in there, replace the lifters and, be done, whatever. It's still a new engine, and I immediately had shut it off, so it's not like everything rotated or went through the filter. The oil filter was clean, all that. I cut it up, looked at it. But down there in the bottom of the block of the oil pan, sitting in the bat wing, was this weird little nodular piece of aluminum, and that was blocked. So then I knew, whole new project, got to build it. And everything, I'm sure you know the story, the Snowball Effect. And then you just start buying, hey, I'm going to get this part, I'm going to get that part. Hey, why don't I do this? Well, that's the Snowball Effect. And we went from, well, can't find an LS block, didn't want to put an iron block in this one, to, well, I guess I'll get an LS2 and just swap stuff over, to, well, I found this deal on rods, and, well, that's how it goes. So now I've got a forged 402 with, I think, 10.55 to 1 compression ratio. It's going to have a V3 Ti I got stashed away, and that's what the car came with, and that's what will go back on it for now. Maybe something else in the future, maybe something different. But for this year, blower. And so that's the whole. I've got the torque tube down. I'm about to take the rear end out. I made a deal to sell this stuff with, like the 60-something thousand miles. It's got the factory straight cut 6-speed for the Z06 in this, and the rear end 342. I'm trading that in a cradle to this gentleman, Connor, up in New York. He's got a Grand Sport 2012 guts that he was going to put in his twin turbo car, and that's got the TR 6060 and the heavier duty rear end. So I'm going to swap that in for this year. We're doing a swap plus cash to make that work, and that's for this year a good deal. Later I'll play around. This is the offending LS6 in 99% functional. You know, everything but that one part of the block is gone. Nothing else is cracked or damaged. If I had a farm truck, I'd be like, hell with it, toss it in and go to town. But nobody wants this anymore. You can't sell the internals for much, and it's pristine, but you know, nobody's looking for them. They'll just go to a junkyard, get a functioning 4.8 or 5.3 and get sloppy with it, which is what I might do with the other one if I keep it. And here's my limited space of parts rack. I got my pre-painted accessory bracket, which I'll have to cut up. I do have a secondary drive kit. Just made some ICT billet remote mounts. I had made my own on the 99, but these are, gosh, those were like 2 minutes to put together. A lot easier than making your own. Yeah, I got some other goodies back there. I got a turn 1 pump, all that other stuff. I got my intake sitting up there, new water pump, you know, all the generic stuff. My MGW shifter on top of what I have to make a point of, because this I ran in my 99. This is a T-Mod Customs lower shift box, and he rebuilds these, puts his own bushings and parts on there. This is a part you never knew you needed in your Corvette. This works for C5 and C6s, and you never knew you needed it until you put it in your car and you're like, oh my god, now this feels like it should. So for 150 bucks or so, whatever he's charging now, well worth it. And all my junk over here, my tool bench. I do support the Second Amendment. I think everybody should once they consider it. And once you have enough life experience and things happen, protect yourself, protect your rights, and the loved ones around you. It's as simple as that. Yeah, parts. So here's my one bay garage. I don't have the radio playing in case I put this on YouTube, because, oh gosh, all those rights out there, if I'm listening to music, they'll shut me down. Well, this is what this Corvette's natural habitat has been, living on the jack stands here, the scissor lift. Got the rear suspension out. I don't know why one bolt gave me a trouble. I walked away from it and I came back today. It tapped right out like finger pressure. I'll get the other side out tonight, but you know, it's enough space to get the job done in here. But when you got all your parts gathering around you, and then I'll have the engine coming back in, there is not a free inch to move. So this is fun. Plus it's a one-man team. This right here, we will see a brand spanking new Forged 402 blower, all the good stuff. Just placed an order tonight, and I do need to give a shout out to Brett Bradbury. He has been a very helpful wealth of knowledge, because as much as I know about cars already, and as much as I know about parts, and then you can learn other stuff from the forums, I find it valuable to learn from the guys that are out there at the track and building the actual cars that are making power. Why spend money twice or do projects 2 or 3 times buying the wrong part, or buying something that you could have done better and then living with it? Just do it right the first time. Now on this car I do have C6Z brakes, which I got a good deal on. I'm into a total rebuilt and refinished, about $1,300. But on a lark, and this is probably geeky, it's more than the car needs, I saw a Hydrotech kit for sale. That's the brake booster, brake assist you see there. And I thought, well, let's try it. Why not? Because I'm going to have heavier brakes. I don't want fade. Not that that should have been an issue with the factory vacuum assist, but we'll do that anyway. And then, you know, the car is clearly in good shape. I mean, every inch of this that I've been over, I mean, I've been in the footwells, I've been under it. There's no rust anywhere on the frame that I can really see. It's just in mint condition. The only problem it's had is, it's had probably, I think I'm the 4th owner, maybe the 5th. And the guy who did the engine probably knew what he was doing, or paid somebody to do it, or at least had experience, but other people maybe didn't. Anybody in the Corvette world has probably at least once been bitten by Corvette Mods, the company. They have some fair products if you don't mind cheap prices, but you got to put up with cheap quality or stuff that fails. I'm not a fan of that. I like stuff that works the first time, every time. So I kind of learned that lesson. I got bit, and one of the guys, or 2 of them along the way, had to learn that lesson. And I've been finding stuff and just pulling out like light kits and weird, just stuff that doesn't matter on cars. It shouldn't be there. Love the blue. Did put my sport seat in. I've had those in the black car, which is outside. It's around midnight right now. You know, I've got a day job, so I just come home and this is how I'm blowing stress off during quarantine, COVID-19 right now in late April. I work in the medical field. I'm not direct care most of the time. I'm more administrative, but it is a high stress. I mean, everything's coming up to me, and I am proud to say that I have a non-COVID facility at this point, but that's still a lot of stress. And this is the interior. Love the sport seats. I will say, anybody who has a Corvette, you know, if you just like the cars, get out there and cleaning them and drive them. The factory seats, which is still on the passenger side, or the sport seats, which I used to have in my 99, you know, they're good. They're fine. But if you start getting a decent suspension, I have, you know, coilovers on the other car, which are going to find their way onto this one. You have, you assume the position in the factory seats, which I call airing the jewels, where you're using Pilates to keep yourself in the seat. And I found I'd put one knee to the left on the door to brace, one knee on the center, and you're airing the jewels just to stay in place. But the Corbos, I have to say, probably one of the best modifications for these cars, because you are always locked in place, you're comfortable. They are the bee's knees, we'll call it. And then I'll get the suspension off after the video here and either drop the cradle tonight. Probably tomorrow I'll do the cradle, come home right after work when it's light out, open the garage. But, you know, Z06, and I got all, camera won't show up, but I got powder coated red fresh C6 Z06 brakes back there, a bunch of parts. And believe it or not, that's my complete fuel system in the heat wrap bag with my headlight cover on top of it for safety. But we will be going with a return style system, a tandem run up here for this one. I am trying to build it again. I like to build things once if I can. So we don't have a lot of E85 here in Connecticut. Most of it's down by the city. It's not easy access. But if I want to go that route in the future, the fuel system and injectors will support it. And we'll make that change as we go. And I think now's the time to think about maybe, you know, do I want to change the computer, or how do I want to account for that? Is it worth changing the computer, or maybe I'll just, you know, I have tuning software, which I'm not a pro, I'm a rookie. I can learn and how to change that over at some point. But here's my project, here's my space. We'll have more fun when the engine comes back. Should be soon. I mean, I can assemble an engine, but some of the valve chain components I put in, I do not have the tools myself to measure and change for the push rods. And I used my tax return this year, and I bought myself some Crower shaft mount rockers, the steel kind. I don't want the aluminum that's going to change shape with heat. But that's a little bit beyond my ken. I want to make sure with this kind of horsepower that I'm going to start reaching out to with this car, that it's not me that built it. I trust myself to a point, you know. But when you start looking at a car which will probably as a baseline make minimum 650 to the wheels, and you can just change your pulley and go up from there, and I have a meth kit ready to swap over, and you know, the sky is the limit until your drivetrain starts complaining. The engine in this case will take it, but we shall see. Anyway, this is what I'm laughingly calling one bay performance here, the one bay shop, one bay motorsport maybe. But you know, I got parts everywhere, just making it work, getting by. And for a lark, gotta love my girlfriend. Little Merry Christmas, laughter there. The ever missing 10 millimeter. You're always reaching for it. There's your little 3/8 inch drive whenever you need it. Haven't had need for it yet, 'cause, gosh, I got enough 10 millimeters saved up over the time, and I am a zip tie ninja. They do have their place, absolutely. Anyway, that's it for this installment, if we'll call it that. You know, just working out here, getting by, doing some painting, keeping warm, thermal barrier seat, and a propane heater. That's the good life. But anyway, we'll do another video when we have the car together, or at another stage of existence here. My old, I I guess that's a biker group from New York, I found out. But I go to auctions sometimes, and I just couldn't pass that little garage memorabilia. Keep it alive, you know. People age out. Hopefully people pass down the hobby, the interest. We try to keep it alive. So, yep, there's my parts of it. You can see your blue Corvette, and we'll get it on the road soon. Hopefully right around the time they open up the world again after COVID here. So, on that note, be well out there, be safe, and take care.